So on Close-Up this morning, that star-studded witness list in the Michael Jackson child molestation trial. Court TV's Catherine Cryer and Diane Diamond have been following the case. Ladies, good morning to both of you.
Morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Catherine, let me start with you. Before we get into specific names, let's talk about the size of these witness lists. The defense puts forward a list of about 350 people. The prosecution about 160 people. You surprised by that?
It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. The judge said so. He almost fell off the bench. The content, though, is probably as much to impress the jurors right now as it is to really show who they're going to call. I would be very surprised if virtually any of these witnesses are fact witnesses, unless his character comes into question and Michael Jackson takes the stand. Most of these people would never come in.
And Diane, let's make sure we understand why these names are coming out right now, because the prosecution and defense, in talking to these potential witnesses, need to know if there are any potential conflicts, correct?
Right, and that's why we know about the witness list, Matt, because the judge said to the potential jurors, listen to these names and see if you know anybody. Well, who doesn't know the name Elizabeth Taylor, Quincy Jones, Serena Williams, Stevie Wonder? I mean, when we got to the 370-person defense list, I mean, it just went on and on.
Well, Diane, let's talk about some specifics here. Kobe
Sure.
Bryant is on the potential witness list.
Right.
Why? What connection to the case?
There is a connection to the case. Allegedly, this mother used Kobe Bryant's name with not one, but 3 state agencies that came to check on the welfare of her children. She said that they were very good friends, that they went out and ate together, they went to each other's homes, so that could go to the truthfulness of the mother.
So in other
Kobe
words,
Bryant
Catherine,
really should be there.
If they get her on the stand and they say, you said you knew Kobe Bryant well, Mr. Bryant has testified he doesn't really even know you, that's
Absolutely.
a credibility problem.
Well, the best defense is a good offense, and they are going to go after this mother's credibility, I think, even more so than the accuser.
There are other people. Comedian Chris Tucker is on the list. Catherine, what about Quincy Jones, Diana Ross, Elizabeth Taylor, even Jay Leno?
There are 2 ways they can use this. If they actually saw something at Neverland that had to do with the accuser, they might. I doubt seriously that's what they're there for. Secondarily, if he takes the stand, good character witnesses can come in. But that's well down the road and not during the substantive case.
And Diane,
Matt,
go ahead.
I was going to add to that, another reason, I mean, some of these people should be on the list. Ed Bradley was there for 60 Minutes, and he met the family. Chris Tucker met the family. Maybe Jay Leno did, too, because the children were in that comedian camp. But I think the important thing to remember is that these people may have something good to say about Neverland. The state is going to say that Neverland was created as a child magnet. Elizabeth Taylor, Diana Ross could come forward and say, you know, I've been there many, many times. It's open to charity. It's a good thing. Michael, I've never seen him misbehave with children.
Okay, let me move on
because
let me get away from the celebrities for a second, because there are some other things on these lists that are important. Catherine, there are some names on the prosecution's list that have a connection to that 1993 case of alleged sexual molestation involving Michael Jackson. Why are those names on the list?
That's critical because that young accuser then, he's now in his 20s, virtually his entire family is on the list. Very, very damning. SmokingGun.com, we've had up the affidavits for a long, long time alleging, even in the settlement, Michael alleges inappropriate touching, such that all the testimony from that young man, if he comes in, is going to verify what the accusers.
Diane, let me ask you about 2 potential jurors who are still in the jury pool. One is a woman who was falsely accused of sexual misconduct, I believe on 2 occasions.
Right.
She remains in the pool despite the fact saying she can sympathize with Michael Jackson. And there's another woman who says that her brother-in-law sexually molested her nieces. She's still in the pool. Does it surprise you that neither side has eliminated them?
Well, we haven't gotten to the elimination part yet. That comes later today. What surprises me most, Matt, is not one of the jurors, even though they have baggage like this, one man said he really worried about the privacy and safety of his family, yet they can still serve. They can still have an open mind. And I think I was surprised at how many people said, no matter what was going on in their life, yes, they could keep an open mind and judge Michael Jackson. Well, if 2 of your nieces have been raped by your brother-in-law, maybe you're not the best potential juror.
Catherine, how long is this going to last? 3-4 weeks is what we're hearing. You think that's about right?
Jury selection, yeah, and then we've got months of trial.
Catherine Cryer, Diane Diamond. Ladies, thanks very much. We appreciate it.
Jurors in the Michael Jackson case are hearing testimony right now from Jackson's former defense attorney, Mark Garagos.
Hi, Alex. Most of the testimony that Mark Garagos is giving today centers on the conspiracy charge. Remember, the prosecution claims Jackson conspired with his associates to hold the accuser and his family against their will. The prosecution also says when the family would leave Neverland Ranch, Jackson's associates would follow them around. They would videotape the family and they would sort of harass them until they returned to Neverland. Well, today Jackson's former attorney Mark Garagos says that is not true. He says he ordered the family to be followed because he was concerned about two things. One, he thought the family would hire an attorney and try and make up a false allegation against Jackson. The second reason, he said, he was worried the family would go to the tabloids and sell a false story. The prosecution with regard to the conspiracy charge also claims that Jackson's associates took all the belongings from the accuser's family's apartment in LA and put it into storage because Jackson was forcing the family to go on a one-way trip to Brazil. Well, today Mark Garagos saying that is also not true. He says his investigator told him the accuser's mother and the family were moving in with her boyfriend and needed help moving the belongings. This may be important because earlier in the trial the jury saw video of the family's belongings being moved into a storage unit. And Alex, Mark Garagos is the only witness the jury will hear from for the rest of the day.
I should think so. I'm sure he's got a lot to say and lots of questions being posed his way.
In California, it could be the last week of defense testimony in the Michael Jackson child molestation case, but it started as a list of 300 possible defense witnesses, including Elizabeth Taylor and Kobe Bryant, is now down to the final few.
Michael Jackson is the one on trial, but his defense team is out to show he's really the victim.
This case is all about conspiracy, but the question is, which conspiracy do you believe? The prosecution's theory that Michael Jackson and his people were conspiring to hold this family, or the defense theory that the family was conspiring to get money out of Michael Jackson?
To make that argument, the defense called Jackson's former attorney Mark Garagos. He testified he was concerned about a, quote, shakedown by the accuser's family. Then employees of Jackson said they saw no indication the accuser's family was held captive at Neverland. And even Jackson's young cousin took the stand. The 12-year-old said he saw the accuser and his brother steal wine and money from the pop star's kitchen.